Hey everyone, Allie here. I wanted to go over a makeup tutorial with something that I have a lot of struggles with. Um, Basically, I feel like I can handle a lot of the foundation, eyeliner, mascara, things like that aren't much of an issue for me. Blending my eyeshadow, picking the appropriate colors to put in the right spot, things of that nature, I tend to have a hard time with. I used to have an issue with really harsh lines and kind of like muddy looking creases and things like that because I wasn't really good at just the technique of putting it all together, and I didn't fully understand blending until my younger sister actually taught me a little bit about it. So I wanted to kind of do a little tutorial on some of the things that I've learned. They don't take a long time. I know a lot of women end up not blending their eyeshadow because they think, gosh, it's such a long, lengthy process. It doesn't have to be, as I've learned to do it on the fly. I've got two kids. I'm really busy with all of the stuff that I'm trying to accomplish in, the business world as well as just my personal life. So I have to find time to put makeup on, but I don't have a ton of time. So I've kind of gone and simplified blending for the ladies out there who are similar to me and you need a little more spare time. So I'm gonna dive right in. I'm using the Tarteist Pro. As you can see, it's a little dirty because I use this one the most. This is like the third one of these that I've bought. I really like the colors in it. There's a lot of neutral colors for brown eyes, which I have. My eyes fluctuate kind of from like a hazel to a dark brown, depending on the colors I'm wearing, the lights, and the colors that I have on my eyelids. So today, because we're going into the fall, I like to play with the neutral browns, but I like to add some pinks or purples to them sometimes just to kind of give a little more personality to my look and not be so bland and neutral. So I'm just gonna read off the colors that I'm using instead of trying to hold it up to the camera, because I know sometimes that can be a pain and you can't really read everything, shows up backwards. So what I start with is this kind of flat eyeshadow brush, and I use it to apply my all over color. And if you're using the Tarteist Pro, I am starting with Vintage. So this is kind of what my brush looks like. And I'm gonna start with Vintage, and I put this one all over. I try to make sure that I cover everything. It's okay if it gets a little messy. I've got some finish powder underneath. I'll kind of show you guys what I did with that before I finish the other eye, that way you know. So I just took a regular, brush, and I'm using the e.l.f. Perfect Finish HD powder. Not because I need it for finish right now, but I kind of put it under here. That way it catches any of the fall off that I get, and I can just brush it away instead of messing up my foundation, contouring, and everything else that I've already worked on. So I'm going to go ahead and finish applying Vintage to my other eye. And I'm trying to do this quickly so that you all can see just how quickly it can be done. I am not a perfectionist, so I don't do the go back and touch up like a lot of the ladies out there that you see do this. But you can still make it look really clean, really neat, and not waste a ton of time putting it all together. So the next thing that I'm gonna start with is what you call your transition color. And your transition color goes just above your crease. For people like me with really large eyes, you can kind of see I've got a lot of space. So really beneficial for me in this, but for those of you who have smaller eyes, I like to kind of do this to identify where my crease is. You can see my crease starts right here, and I go just above that. Some women also kind of like open their eyes and look down, and they try to they start with like a dot, which I like to start at the outside, by the way. They start with like a dot just above like where it's visible, and that's where they start putting their transition color. I am using a flat brush that is smaller than the one that I use to apply the vintage. So it just looks like this. It's kind of soft. A lot of ladies use a blending brush. I like to start with the flat brush and then go into blending. I know it adds an extra step, but it's not that long. So the next color that I'm going with is, let's see if I can read it. It's Chic, and you want to go with a color that is pretty close to your natural skin tone for your transition color, because you want them all to kind of blend together and not look really harsh. So the flat brush that I'm using, it has really soft bristles on it. You guys are gonna laugh. I got it at the icing back when that was still like a huge thing. I don't even know if those still exist. So I've had the brush forever, but I really like it. So I've made it a point to keep it around. And as you can see, because I do have this flat brush that is really soft, it's kind of blending itself, but I will still go over it with the blender brush. You can totally apply your transition color with your blender brush, and I'm gonna show you what a blender brush looks like here in just a second. So this is just, you know, a really subtle color. And I've got this blending brush, which has these really soft bristles. And I like to hold it down here. If you hold it up here, you're essentially gonna wipe away everything that you put on, and that's how you end up going back and forth. I don't like to do that. I wanna keep this short and simple. So hold it at the end, the very end, you know, and just lightly kind of blend outward. I blend outward. There are some that blend upward. I like to go outward because I really like for that cat eye shape. So I kind of just try to, you know, bring everything into the corners where that cat eye would be. So a little bit up and out. And I will go ahead and do the other eye. And I'm really just like barely touching my eye. You gotta remember your transition color is so light. It's the color of your skin. So you don't want to blend it all the way to where there's nothing there. So there we have transition color. You can see it's not really harsh. It's just kind of on there, and it's very close to my natural skin tone. So the next one that I do, I stick with my blending brush and I go into my crease. So for this one, I'm gonna add an extra color because I am playing with colors. But for my crease, I am using Edgy, which is kind of a darker brown, not super dark, but enough to make a statement, you know. I like to tap off the extra so I don't get it everywhere, because your darker colors can get all over your face. And I, again, start at the outside. I like to start down in the corner, make sure it's on there really good. And I just lightly get it in there on the crease and kind of go back and forth with this windshield wiper motion. A lot of people do the whole dab thing like the whole time around. I find that that takes entirely too long. You can see that I accidentally went a little high up there and got into my transition color. When I do that, I just go back and kind of blend it out as much as I can. I'm going to be putting another color on this today. That's really going to take up most of my transition color anyway, so it's not a big deal. But very simple to just blend it out. If you want, you can go back to your transition color, which I'm doing right now, with your blender brush and just kind of blend that out so that you don't have a big hump. That's what I love about eyeshadow. It's really easy to manipulate and to make it work. So just blend it really good. And I'm gonna do the other side. You guys see, if I wasn't talking, I mean, this would be going like super fast. I don't waste a ton of time on my eyeshadow. And back to that windshield wiper motion. And then just blend it really good so you don't have those harsh lines. And this all, you know, when you get used to doing it, it becomes like second nature. And see, I feel like this is still a little bold here, so I'm gonna blend it out with my transition color again. Try to tone that down. It really just comes down to kind of playing with your colors and not freaking out. I think I used to freak out with eyeshadow, with anything really that was like bold and flashy, because I just thought, wow, I'm like totally gonna destroy this. It's gonna look like a hot mess. But you just kind of gotta go with it. Like, just be okay with it. You know what I mean? If you make a mistake, just blend, blend, blend. I'm blending a little heavier right now because I still feel like this is a little dark in my corner. So typically you wouldn't blend so heavy, but I don't want this to be super, super bold. Definitely want it to look natural-ish. Obviously nothing about my face that's natural right now. I'm covered in makeup. So the next one that I'm going to use, by the way, that was edgy. I don't know if I said that. The next one I'm going to use, because I want to add a little bit of the fall colors up in this upper area above my crease, just slightly above that transition color. I'm going with Whimsy. It's kind of an orangish brassy color. And again, I'm just kind of dabbing off some of the extra. Still using my blending brush. I'm gonna go really light with this. Like super, super light. Just enough to add some orange in there. Blend it a little bit. And I'm gonna take on the other eye. Again, super light. I don't want this to go on there like I have bright orange clown eyes or anything. You know, just enough to add a little bit of color in this transition. I really like the fall. I like adding different colors to my eyeshadows so they're not so boring. And I am gonna blend a little more on both sides so we don't look crazy, clownish. Always blending outward, kind of fanning outward for that cat eye look. I know a lot of you don't have eyes nearly as big as me, so this seems a little more difficult. Just play with it. It's definitely, it's not bad at all, and I think I've gotten really used to it because it's a routine for me. But I usually can do this super quick. I mean, it literally takes me no more than 15 minutes each day to do my makeup, and I can even throw in some extra stuff. So you guys can kind of see I've added in the orange. Things are blended in really good. One of the things that I don't like, and you know, not everybody has this problem, but I get kind of like this line, if you guys can see that. See, it's like going into my brow, kind of like a shelf almost. I like to find a way to blend that in so that I don't look like a cat because I feel like this is very cattish. So what I'm gonna do is take a lighter color, way lighter color. I'm going back to the vintage that I started with, still using my blender brush, and I'm just gonna lightly blend this out. If you guys don't have this problem with this extra like fatty deposit up here, don't sweat this at all, because a lot of people freak out whenever you start putting light colors near your brow line because most people say, oh, it's only supposed to go in the peak. But I always have to kind of do what I can to hide these little shelves so that I don't look sleepy. And today I am very sleepy. So just adding a little more of a light color to that, lightly blending it as much as I can. Sometimes I take it down to here depending on how bad it is that day. And you can see for the most part, it's kind of gone away. The next thing I am going to do is, I've already got my highlighter and contour on and blended so that you guys didn't have to laugh at me through that process after mine and B's last video. I am going to go with, let's see, the e.l.f. contour palette. Looks like this. I got it at Walmart. You guys don't have to go super crazy with your makeup. I'm gonna go back to that really fun flat brush that I told you I got from Claire's that has the soft bristles. This one. And I'm gonna go with the lightest highlighter color in here and just kind of sweep it under my brow line. Now, because I already blended out that shelf area, I don't want to go too crazy with this. So sweep it outward. I sometimes take it past my brow, just if I put too much on there. Just sweeping it out. And I'm gonna go back over all of this with my blender brush just one more time, making sure everything is nice and smooth. And then we are gonna add in the lid color. And then I will go ahead and close this off for eyeliner mascara because that's for another day. The one last thing that I like to do is line my under lash line or my lower lash line. And I'm just gonna start with that transition color that I use. And I'm using this flat brush right here. The bristles are a little more firm. It's a little bit different, still a flat brush. I'm gonna go back to that transition color, make sure I don't have a bunch of excess on there, and I am just going to start outward and really gently line the lower lash line. And then I'm gonna do the other side. You notice I'm not going all the way over because I also like to put a little bit of highlighter in the corners of my eyes. And then I'm gonna go back to that edgy and follow up over the transition color and just lightly blend it in on both sides, stopping, you know, roughly the same area. Make sure you tab off all the excess. Okay. And lightly sweep my blender brush under there without tearing everything up. And the last thing I'm gonna do is with that same bristle brush, I am gonna go with my highlighter from the e.l.f. contour package. You can use eyeshadow, highlighter, whatever it is that you like. Some ladies like to use the highlighter stick, and I just kind of keep it very close to the lash line. Some people go really crazy with it and like bring it down. I think that that really highlights the bags under your eyes and like presents dark circles even if you don't have them. So I really try to make sure that it's not falling all over the place. Alrighty, you guys can see the finished product of the eyeshadow. And I will post the finished complete picture of the eyeliner, mascara, all of that. So thank you for watching. I'm Allie, and I look forward to seeing you next time.